Minutes.
Are you still on there, Heather?
Still on.
Okay, perfect. Okay, we're gonna move to new business. Transitional bilingual instruction program. This is the annual housekeeping item. This is the second reading on this, is it not?
Yes.
So we had the first reading, this is the second reading, and then the next time we will approve it. Or disapprove it. Anybody have anything new on this at this time?
A clarifying question. Don't we approve tonight if everything's approved from the second reading?
If we didn't have any comments or questions,
Correct.
yeah?
Okay.
Anybody have any comments or questions?
Nope.
Make a motion, we approve policy 2110.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Well, there's our motion for the grievance. We already did it. It asked for a motion. Let's do that because you put it on here. I'd like to call for a motion to set the date of the level 3 grievance.
I make a motion, we set the level 3 grievance for September 23rd at 5 p.m.
I
Or
second it.
or October
14th.
14th at 5 p.m.
I second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Good job. Okay. Board assessment. Mr. Trey has got it all done and taken care of.
I would love Trey to come out of a shell.
I already found
rail you guys on this.
I already found an issue.
What's that?
You have present 5. There's only 4 present.
Well,
She's present.
Not present here.
Well,
Not
I mean,
present.
present.
I know.
So I
Attending the
I
meeting.
was gonna put 4?5.
She's here.
But she's in
Change it to
spirit. So,
engaged, participating, or?
yeah, she's here. She's here in my book.
Yeah,
so.
she even sounds like trash. And shit.
Yeah, I can
better than the
still
rest of
hear.
So everything is all good. We don't have any bads, which is a good thing. Okay, from the board, I have a couple things. And we did this last year. We sponsored the shirts last year. I don't think you guys remember this because you weren't on here, but last year as a board, we all chipped in, I think, was it $20 a piece?
Yeah.
I think we did $20 a piece and we paid, and they put Grandview School District logo on the back of the t-shirts for the DECA. So do you guys want to do that again?
Do we get a shirt? Or
I
that's
think it
for-
was 25 or 25 or 50. I can't remember. But I heard Amanda your question. Did we get a shirt? They did give us a shirt and we gifted it to Rob.
Oh, is that how I got a shirt?
Yeah. No, they didn't give us each a shirt.
Yo,
They gave us one
I
shirt
was wondering why
for
they
being a
changed.
group and yeah. But do you guys want to do that? And if so, how much do you want to do? 20, 25? I don't really care. But if we want to do it, we can get the money together whenever. I can give her the money and then we can figure it out.
Yeah. Go
Does
for it.
25
I'm
work?
looking for the 25.
Yeah. I
Okay.
agree.
Yep.
So we'll do 25?
Yep.
Okay, good. So we'll make that happen. My other thing from the board is, how do you want to follow up with the public comment?
So he and I have been emailing and he was actually accepting of my response and hey, look, we realize that this is a bigger conversation. I said, cause we met cabinet, me, Jose, Josie, Brad met to try and talk about his request. And we looked at we talked to Scott about what he had done as far as the people he had on the committee and what they looked at. And we realized this is a much bigger conversation for us to have. This didn't necessarily here are the parameters for getting in this trophy case. Because we have team sports, we have individual sports, we have sports happen all year long, we have career recognitions. And then I've reached out to WIAA and they said, we have no idea what to recommend because nobody has a clear process for this. So we're still reaching out to the state. So I told them, I said, look, if we're going to do this right, we're going to do it in a timely manner and do it right the first time rather than rush something and then try to have to go back and they, oh crap, that didn't work, oh crap, that didn't work, and so. And his response is kind of the same tonight, it's like, why should we have to wait a third year? Well, he didn't make the request 3 years ago, they made the request just this year, so, and I said, well, regardless of it, it's gonna, right now you have a no. I said, the outcome of this could be yes. I said, we just need to go through this process and determine cleared parameters on, or it might even decide, the district decides this is too big to identify individuals, 'cause I don't think anybody's been put in the trophy case since Peyton. I think there's been some team stuff put in there, but I don't think any individuals have been put in there.
I think we've had some state wrestling champs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so for individual
Yeah.
sports, but as far as individuals on team sports,
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's been recognized since then. It kind of just fizzled out, boys or girls.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then we have a 10-year window where people can then apply to determine whether they meet this new criteria, if that's what we decide to do. Some districts are going to a digital trophy case only, where every year they identify 2 athletes from each sport. They go to the digital trophy case and it's on their website. People can access it all the time. So I can reply to him and just, I mean, we can talk about what you want me to say, if there's anything you want me to say, but he knows we're gonna go through this process, but it's gonna be a little bit of an endeavor.
So, because we have a written policy or procedure that we can hand people right now that says this is what the qualification requirements are?
We do, but after us looking at it, it's not sufficient.
Okay,
It's very subjective and we want to remove as much subjectivity
Okay.
from it. 'Cause some of it was like, were they written up in a newspaper article? You know, did they have significant media coverage? Well, that's
Mhm.
super subjective because
Mm.
if your family's close to the media, of course they're gonna get, or if your
Yeah.
team's having a good year, they're gonna get a lot of coverage.
Yeah, you might be a
So-
great player on a very bad team
And so
and
they're not gonna cover you.
Maybe
know.
we'll cover you. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
so there's some things like that that should be taken out, that should be a part of the process. And so we're just making sure, and he talked to both myself and Jose, we're both coaches. We've been involved in that stuff from third grade all the way, 3 years all the way through the collegiate level, so we understand what it takes to have that type of a career. Not to diminish anything that Natalie's done, we just don't have a clear guideline to say yay or nay. And what's interesting is we had the coach they asked Brayman to come write a recommendation. He told them yes. He went and gave Scott a recommendation. He goes, here, I'm doing this, but I really want to. So he completely threw it on Scott after kind of washing his hands of it. And so from start to finish, the whole thing was handled incorrectly up there. And I told Steve, I was like, look, there's so many things that we should have done better in this process, and I apologize for that. We're gonna do better. Here's what we're gonna do moving forward. I know this isn't the outcome you want, but I'm telling you, it's not no immediately. That's what I can tell you right now, so.
I wonder, is this something that we should consider as either a talking point for one of our listening sessions or the formation of some type of committee that is local to help us to decide the initial criteria or re-decide that criteria and then move forward, like it's a regular committee that continues on.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna put together a committee to determine what criteria to do. But if you think about it, I think we have 4 or 5 varsity sports per season. So that might be up anywhere between 15 and 20 different criteria based on the sport, based on the,
Cause it has to be different for every sport.
yeah, every sport's gonna have a different criteria,
Yeah.
individual, team sports, those kind of things.
Well, and
And so-
even getting together with the coaches.
Yeah,
Might be
and we have
something.
old coaches that don't coach anymore who have a history of what wasn't a trophy case, to the new coaches who don't have any but want to have part of it. And so, and I told Steve that we would be reaching out to coaches and have them be part of this work as well. It's gonna be a very emotional conversation because sports, sports run deep in these kind of
well, and
communities.
then the other thing that you potentially set yourself up for, then what do you do when the trophy case is full?
Yeah, I
Mhm.
know.
Do you
Yeah.
build another
So,
building?
well,
I
some
mean,
districts have started retiring after they get within a certain number of years, like they have a 20-year window of things in the trophy case, and I think
Uh-huh.
20 years or older, they either go to the people and then they get featured on the electronic version. So they take
Yeah.
what was in there, put
okay,
it electronically, and then they go make room for the next 20 years. So
you
there's,
move them into
Or
the,
central.
this is here.
Yeah.
You move them here and that's the older
you know,
people.
we'll
Check.
start
Yeah.
putting them around here.
So currently we have 3 girls, Peyton, Samantha Harris, and Kenzie Poti, just 3 girls. We have 8 boys. And obviously the boys have done a lot more in terms of state basketballs and.
So last
Philip
year, the
Cannon's-
boy, is he the last one for boys?
I think Philip Cannanosa was the last one. He got state Gatorade Player of the
Wild, too.
Year. Yeah, so.
Yeah, it's been.
Yeah.
So it's
He
not like
actually
we
has
put
a,
a bunch of,
has a thing in the gym,
Mhm.
because I
Yeah,
actually gave
he,
him.
he was a state Player of the Year. I mean,
Yes.
Yeah.
and the big rub right now is really, is it the AP press state selection or is it the coaches
it
selection?
doesn't sound like the AP is there anymore.
No, I mean, they're both prestigious in my opinion. I
Yeah.
mean, they're both good. If you're selected to an all-state team, you're selected to an all-state team regardless.
Is
I mean,
that
that's a big accomplishment.
That's the only thing she's missing, right?
That's
So
all.
that's,
That's the
that's,
only
yeah,
thing.
based on what Scott told him.
Mhm.
And then Scott says, well, back when Natalie was doing it, they had two different selection committees. One was, hey, they went down a list of players, and then if that player didn't get selected, then they said, I can't make it, then they go to the next one, I can't make it to the next one.
Mhm.
So his argument was that criteria was not the same criteria used as the all-state selection, and so that got also muddy, subjective too, and so
Yeah.
Scott didn't handle it
But
very
even
well.
the 1,000-point game, you know, or 1,000-point career is a huge accomplishment as well. And we've had a few girls since Poti that have achieved that, that potentially could also be recognized.
Yeah, last year we had two boys achieve that,
Mhm.
and they're not in the
Yeah.
trophy case. And so that is part of the process, but then again, how do we determine the criteria per sport? So,
I think putting a committee together, because when we did the booster club and when we were doing the, which I think it's kind of fallen on the wayside, what's the wall of fame, the criteria of that is kind of fallen a little bit. We've had nominees that some of them, anyway, I questioned it, but of how you put that together on something. But I think putting a committee together and being able to get back to Steve and say, hey, we're putting a committee together. We're gonna reach out to other school districts. What do they do? Other towns, and then try to put something together that everybody agrees upon, and then stick with that and go with it. And
yeah.
have something in writing.
And that's what I told him. And he, he just wants more, he wants some closure sooner than that, because he doesn't want to have to wait any longer, and I understand that. But I said, well, if you want our answer now, the answer was no, because that's what the committee decided. The 3 or 4 people that Scott had up there were part of that work. I said, however, our cabinet don't feel that process was quantifiable enough to, to determine one way or another. So we're gonna overrule them. And
How is the committee, like, how do you pick?
so Scott did that. So Scott brought together 4 coaches from different sports, men and female, one male, 3 female, or 2 males, 2. I'm trying to remember. I think there was just 3.
it was
It was 2 female, 1 male.
It was
They're on the
OJ.
committee.
Yeah.
And so Scott's trying to protect them because he doesn't want parents going after them saying, why you determined my kid didn't make it. And so Steve's asking him for more information about who's on the committee. Scott's like, I'm not gonna tell you that because it's a committee and they made a decision as a committee, so I can give you their decision. And so.
If we do have a
Maybe we
committee in
could-
the future going forward, we should be transparent and list who's on the committee,
I agree.
just like any other.
I'm not sure about that.
I agree.
Do we want
I mean, if you're
that
gonna,
conversation on the front yard of people in the committee?
Yeah, we don't want parents, I mean, that does set up those people on the committee to then be susceptible to upset parents who were told no. And so,
People just won't want to be on the committee.
yeah, I think we would have a hard time.
If
putting
you're
them on the
gonna
committee
be
if
ridiculed,
they-
I just
if-
won't be on your committee.
I think if they
But
even
would
know-
we be
If you have a
ridiculed? I think
strong-
about boosters. I mean, we all have to be on there and be transparent with who's who when we were on booster or when we're on other like curriculum committees or things like that that are involved. So, I mean, if somebody takes on the responsibility of being there, maybe their answers or their point system necessarily doesn't have to be shared for their actual individual vote. But I mean, we should think about what we're doing to be transparent because sports, like you said, does run deep here in Grandview. And that could be seen as still being biased or favoritism, when people don't know who.
Yeah, I
Agree.
I agree with you, and I think having a very clear checklist, yes, no, and then the output, then it won't matter who's on the
Does it
committee.
itself.
Right.
They get the results and they say based on
and
this.
I don't feel like it should be the same committee.
Well, I
right
think,
now, or if it is, then you,
Or-
then at least it has to be
Yeah,
You have to approve it, or it has to come through the board or something. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
it will be much bigger than those, just the four
Yeah.
people that were part
I
of
think
it.
initially we'll have a committee to come up with the criteria, and once we come up with the criteria, I don't think you would need a committee.
'Cause
Either
it's
they meet
basement.
it or they don't.
Yeah.
It'll be very
Yeah.
Cut and dry.
subject or objective. Yeah, exactly. Did you check off these? And if the answer is yes, then yes. If
Yeah.
no, then it's no.
Yeah, and it won't not necessitate a coach's recommendation, because
Exactly.
at the end of the season, they just merely put all the information in there and output.
And if you get it, you get it.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
So that's what we're hoping to get, and that's why I told them it's gonna take us a little while to create that system, but that seems the best way for us to do it, it's a big task.
Yeah.
And OJ is doing her admin internship this year, so she's gonna be volunteered to help lead that work.
I'm
But
curious,
she's a good person to do it because she has a
offer
good
any
athletic background too.
recommendations?
Say that again, Heather?
Offer any recommendations other than the committee or other than the process that you all are discussing?
I didn't hear the first part of what you said.
Did Steve offer any alternative recommendations other than the process we're discussing right now?
No, he just wanted to express his concern about how it was handled, and that he felt lied to from the beginning, from the athletic director. And he felt that it was just he felt it wasn't very transparent, and then the answer he was given as to why she wasn't selected, he then brought information that he felt refuted that, so therefore she should have been. And so that's his frustration.
Gotcha.
And if you do put the resumes side by side, Kenzie, Samantha Harris doesn't have a resume. But if you look at Kenzie and you look at Peyton and you put hers, they're pretty identical, the three of them. With the exception of a state selection that's approved by the athletic director. So that's kind of the rub.
Yeah, and sometimes it's hard to put that in based on, well, going forward, you can do it if that's something
Yes.
that's offered, but then you also need to be workable, that if something changes down the road and they start, let's say you put that in there and then they stop doing that. Now all of a sudden we gotta, make changes as you go, because I'm sure when Samantha was in there, they probably didn't do that.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, so when we do our criteria, it could be a state selection of team of some sort, and not call it the AP or the coaches
Right.
association, or just state selection to
More
a team.
generic.
Yeah, because when we play sports, I mean, I was never selected to an all-state team, so if I
I
get
was never
selected,
good enough to. So.
yeah, or named to a team, then that's good. Big.
Yeah, why
Okay.
can't it be like wrestling?
It
You
should
win a
be-
state championship, then there's no doubt.
Yep.
Yeah, well, that's the beauty of an individual sport, right?
Yeah.
But I think, again, it should consider other criteria. There are different things that are presented when you're in a team sport. And with the all-state teams, while there are so many spots available, sometimes you may still have a good player that just isn't selected for whatever reason.
Yep. I'm confident we'll be able to create something. I just know it's gonna
take
be
time.
a slog.
So then, does it sound like for the next meeting, because the request was to put this on the agenda for the upcoming meeting, that the recommendations being discussed or any updates since are going to be presented, or what would our discussions be moving forward?
Well, I think we'd be transparent with them. The committee's been set up. It's gonna look into this and come up with the criteria. And until that's done, we are not gonna make a ruling.
Yeah, that was his request to have it on the next thing. I think our response, my opinion, our response through Rob or through whoever needs to be kind of what we're talking about. A response that, hey, we understand what you're saying. We really don't have anything in place. We agree with you on that. It is going to get set up. We are going to set something up. We're going to set up the criteria. We're going to get the right people involved and just express what the plan is going forward. And I'm sorry it's going to take time, but it's going to take time, and then we can reevaluate her and go from there.
Yeah.
Based on the criteria that is set, because you're not going to set the criteria based on her. You're going to set the criteria based on what you think is right or what the committee thinks needs to be. Then you would reevaluate her against that.
Yeah, and I think part of what the
But if she
committee,
doesn't get recognized, that's gonna be tough too, cause she's so, like, she deserves it.
yeah, and then that'll be the clear criteria. I think part of what the committee did this time is they analyzed what were common criteria they saw that existed in the trophy case and built a criteria around that and then rated her against that criteria. But without having a clear criteria to how those people got in there, it's very subjective.
Yeah,
Well, and the other challenge is, and this is just, if I were in that parent's shoes, right? If I was in Steve's shoes and I was pursuing this, a question I would have and where I would, be bringing forward is, how are we supposed to know what that athlete's supposed to be striving for when there's no criteria that had been shared or set? So I mean, somehow, some way, we do need to acknowledge that we're in a gray zone right now. Is there anything that needs to be considered if somebody, and I'm not just talking about Natalie, I'm talking about other student athletes in general, if they meet certain criteria where maybe they are also accepted, because we've had no criteria since, what it was, 10 years or so,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, because how do you know what to look for? It's like honor roll, you know what GPA you need to get, right? If you want to get, state champion, for example, or whatever, what you're needing to do. But if we don't have a criteria set, how are those student athletes supposed to have known what to strive for?
yeah. And it will expose us to retroactively considering other people as well. And that's just I think that's just a fair way to do it.
Mhm.
Yeah, and if we have a clear criteria and somebody brings up a student athlete, we have something to judge them against, and they either make it or they don't.
Yeah, and we can even put it on the website, like if you feel like your former athlete warrant their accolades warrant being in the trophy case, here's your checklist, and if you feel based on this checklist that it warranted, please submit some form and we'll consider, and it'll be considered.
and they'll also know what that is going as they move through our sporting.
Yeah.
Kids coming up through the middle school will know,
What to work.
once we get this done, which we don't have it, of what it's gonna take to be able to get into the
Yeah.
trophy
Mhm.
case.
For me, I've only ever coached team sports, and for me, this would be hard for me to grasp this as a coach because I want my players to be team players.
Mhm.
And I don't want them to like, oh, I gotta get 15 more points, then I gotta get in the scoreboard, I mean, obviously, if someone's that close, they've done a fantastic job anyway, but I would underemphasize the trophy case because I want us to play as a team, to look as a team. If you happen to be in there, great, but so who knows how the coaches are gonna respond to that.
And then-
we're gonna can of worms for them
Yeah.
too.
Hopefully, we put the 20-year time frame in there,
Yeah,
so we don't
That's-
have to try to build another building to house the potential.
Well, and I would also
Trophy
like
case.
to see, team things get in there also,
Yeah.
put the
Yeah.
criteria for a team. You
Yes.
know, your team wins the state title or your team gets a whatever you decide.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
yeah, we can kind of help.
You know,
Kind
the
of what
GPA
Rod mentioned, the concern about not playing as an individual versus a team. Maybe that's part of what has to be the criteria, is that your teammates acknowledged that, you were a team player. It wasn't about individual, accolades or achievements. Maybe
Yeah.
that's part, is you have to have at least one or two teammates who will write a recognition or a recommendation for you.
We just have to be prepared for Johnny Rodriguez to come in here and light us up.
I was just
There's
like,
always there.
can you work on the girls program first and get all of that situated
Yeah.
so I can
So
go
if
and
you-
tell?
Get
Go
your
and
button
tell
in.
I think we just have
Oh my
about
gosh.
GPA too. I
Yeah,
think
Yeah.
you gotta look at the whole child,
Yes.
whole athlete, because they're student athletes,
Yes.
students first,
Student
athletes
first,
second.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, didn't we win a state academic
We
championship?
won quite a few state recognitions.
Well, I don't know if they were,
Years ago, they were recognized for a couple of them, I remember.
yeah,
Soccer last year.
Yeah.
too, wasn't they?
Yeah, and cross country almost always is, because we have a bunch of nerds that run cross country. Like the smartest kids ever, they just go out there, run. Yeah.
Well, with all the math they have to do to figure out their times, right?
That's true. Well, you get the Anderson boy on there, the Kramer boy on there, but that lifts your GPA way up.
Yeah. Those are the only two things I had from the board. Anybody else have anything from the board?
like Rob said, I went to the coffee with the superintendent. I always enjoy those because there always seems to be a different topic brought up that has not been brought up when I was there. And
I forgot to mention the 24-hour fitness. Anytime
Yeah.
Fitness.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime Fitness guy came
Oh.
and introduced himself, and they are offering a deal for our staff as part of their community hero deal. So for police and officers and firemen, They offer a 1-year deal at monthly at what it would be if it was 2 years. You can only sign up for 1 year. So in other words, from $50 to $40. So that's nice that they include that for our staff here. So, and then I did go to the SAC kickoff meeting today at the high school, and those kids worked really well. I went around and sat in all 4 groups with the things they were working on, and is interesting. I think we may end up with a hate speech policy brought to us at some point to look at putting in our district policies. So I talked to them a little bit about that, and I said, come up with something, and if you want to bring it to us, we will review it. And I said, I think we would be receptive to it, but we have to make sure that it fits the criteria to be able to put into our policies. And so it gave you could see their little gears turning, something to work towards that group that was working on that. So
I do have one more thing from the board. Everybody was sent the comments or the topics that from the survey that we did. What do you guys think if, because we got all of them from everybody, what do you guys think if Rob and I got together and picked 4? I think we had kind of 4 or 5 is what we had thought about, but I think our first one, maybe we should go with 4 topics. If Rob and I picked ones that were common through here, that were maybe by more than one person chose the same type, and we picked 4 of them out of there to be our topics. Are you guys okay with that, or do you guys want to be involved in that, or what?
I think that's a good idea. And for the other reason, pick ones that our staff has the information they need so that it can be successful, and we don't pick one that we're maybe not as prepared to talk about right now.
Heather, are you okay with that?
I saw the responses the other day. I would say that we definitely need to address, at least as one of the topics, the safety and security, because that continued to be a theme in most of the responses. And then the only other thing that I would consider mentioning, if you guys are picking the topics, is, does it align again with our strategic plan? Is it information that's going to be helpful and useful as we continue to work towards meeting those goals? And does it give the community the opportunity to have the voice? So I am okay, just those things for consideration.
No, those are great points, and exactly the same things I was thinking about too. So I'll set up a time to get with Rob, and that way we can figure out what the topics are going to be, and we can get those prepared, so we can all do a little research on that before the time. Anybody have anything else? Okay, what's that?
No.
No. So our next board meeting will be on the 23rd. There is a potential for us having the grievance at 5 o'clock. Please be prepared for that. I really would like everybody here for that, because we will have to address that back at a certain time. After we hear it, we have certain time frame before we have to respond.
And can we talk about that in executive session afterwards, or do we have to talk about that in open meeting?
The grievance?
Yes.
In executive session. It'll be a closed meeting.
No,
The
I mean,
grievance part
but
will be, but then when we decide how to
when we
respond
talk about
to
it afterwards, is that gotta be in an open meeting, or can we,
It'll be a closed meeting also.
so can we schedule some time for that if we do that
put that in the agenda.
deal, put it on the agenda to have some time for us?
During that same meeting.
So if they don't accept the 25th, then we would need to have that time in the 14th.
So on the 25th, we'll have another executive session. To discuss the performance of an employee.
Anything else? Okay, meeting's adjourned.
All right, good night, everyone.
You feel better, Heather?
Take some drugs.
Thank you.
Good thing we're